So the opening term is 24-13 for Vola prominent. Judd, Murphy and Gibbs had 23 between them. They were terrific. Let's go down to Tim Watson with Brett Montgomery.
Well, Brett, you would have been pretty happy with that first quarter of football.
Yeah, I think we are. In the coach's box, we adapted to the game intensity, the game speed really nicely. We're always worried about how we're going to come out first up, so no, we're pleased.
I was really surprised you didn't put a hard tag on Brent Harvey in that first quarter. What's the thinking behind that?
We've got to leave something in the kit bag, Tim. He's a quality player, great player, and he's hurt us in the past, but we just want to look at our stuff just to start with.
And what about Nick Stevens? You're the backline coach or the defensive coach. Nick Stevens was in your group in the huddle at quarter time. What's his role tonight?
Well, if we can get hold of a quality kicker out of there for some of the season, we'll be wrapped. We're going to trial him through the pre-season. He's a great kick. He sets us up. So, yeah, we'll give it a run.
And you would have been happy with Mitch Robinson in that first quarter?
Yeah, we're really pleased with the young fella.
And what do you think about the second quarter of football? Attack North Melbourne again?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, we're pleased with our start. We need to maintain it. We don't want to compromise any of our guys' lead up to the regular season. But, yeah, we want to win.
So just keeping a little bit of powder dry?
Trying to.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Good stuff, Tim, there with Brett Montgomery as we look at Dean Laidley and Boomer Harvey right there. Chris Sharon, interestingly, just had the one touch in that first quarter and came from the ground after he seemed hobbling and having his ankle strapped.
Yeah, he said his ankle strapped. The thing I did notice is his left ankle didn't have any strapping on it. It's little things that you pick up coming out of junior football, bad habits. I mean, that's not going to last like that for long because you should have your ankle strapped for that. But not a great start for him, but we hope to see him back.
And he has been subbed off, I think, I'm pretty sure, isn't it?
If we drew the line in the sand right now, what would be your impression of the first one? What's the one thing you got out of the first quarter?
Well, the young fellas from man, just one thing here. Have a look at Jack Zeeble, front and centre of the coach. Mitch Robinson was exactly the same in the Carlton huddle. Is that something? Young, confident kids, do you like to see them front
Absolutely.
and centre?
I like to see players standing, 3 moves in front of me. I hate blokes who are sort of just round the back as if they're not even listening. So I think it's really good to have an obvious statement of good concentration by being in front of the coach's eyes.
And both of those young men are displaying it on the football field as well.
I tell you what, Dennis, next time Lee talks to me, I'm going to look him right in the eye, aren't you?
We'll jostle for front position, Bruce, you and I.
It's the kind of advice Bucks would have given at the AIS camp, wouldn't it, Bucks? Get in front and make sure you look like you're listening, even if you're not.
For every bloke at the front, there's got to be one at the back. Just checking the positions. Well, we won't do that. I'll check the possessions first. Gibbs 9, Judd 8. 3 guys have got 7 for Carlton. Simpson for Vola and Grigg. 5 guys at North Melbourne have got 5. And checking the positions. Judd is back in the centre square. Away comes Gibbs. His 10th then. Already in double figures. Having the first kick of the second term. Pratt did brilliantly. Extricated himself from a very tight situation. Rawlings goes wide. And this is McIntosh. McIntosh told to play on. Right half back. Drives beyond the wing. Well, almost beyond the fence. Out of bounds on the full.
He's having good fun tonight, Eddie Betts, with Favola sort of more playing up across half forward. He's led off the full forward line a couple of times.
It's very good with his hands. He's knocked a couple of handballs down. He knocked that one out of the hands of the North player. He's in a very tight space. He's very good.
So Waite, good grab by Petrie. Just where he plays this year, I reckon, is going to be a talking point throughout. Rawlings got it to Harris, who got it to Harding, who switched it cleverly to Thomas. And Thomas had Campbell in front of him, decides to go longer. Jones on that long lead, did well. And now Campbell in tight quarters, clever kick, brought it right back to the hot spot. Waite over the top, bangs it towards Cruiser. Now that's interesting.
No, I think as we said when we've identified with this rule, it's got to be really obvious. Every now and again it'll be sort of rushed through, but it's got to be really obvious. Good common sense by the umpire, I think's fair enough.
That wouldn't have been paid if it was going over the boundary line, and that's
probably not.
You'd hope that it's consistent right around the field.
Johnson, Chris Johnson, former Melbourne player. That was a lovely kick to the outer side. Carlton, though, didn't benefit, and now we've got a free kick going their way. So they retain possession. Murphy. Haven't called his name that much so far. From half back, short. Gibbs. We've seen plenty of it.
You did say, Lee, early that it was predominantly a one-on-one game, but both sides are getting mass numbers behind the ball when they
get a
slow their
chance.
opposition
When they
down.
get a chance, everyone's sliding back.
Higher ball from Gibbs towards Cloak. He's like a charged particle. Eddie Betts arrived very quickly and finds Favola on the lead. Favola 7 possessions in the opening term, so that says something about him putting himself around. Very strong with the hands, and again there.
The Eddie Betts crumb, that's one of the hardest skills in football, as Favola's a crack at it.
Kicks it behind.
But when Betts hit the pack, hitting the pack at full speed and getting to the front of the pack and taking the ball when you're in full motion, frankly, if you do it, your technique's been bad, because you're attacking it so hard that normally you'll run past the pack, but he got the timing perfectly over the other side then Betts.
And in today's football, you actually don't see that many front and centre, so there's not that much time to practice it.
Not too many pack marks in the forward line.
And then delivered very well, didn't he? So Thompson's kick's not going to get far enough, and Cruiser, #1 draft pick of last year, and did so well. Simpson's kick was a dangerous one, and Harvey did very well, but he was outnumbered. Stevens will get this. Murphy to Stevens, inside. Johnson should go, and he does. He's going to like that. Well, they are very impressed with his kicking skills, and
Any wonder.
Dennis mentioned a moment ago that his first kick was a good one for the Blues, and his second one is also a beauty.
Might well be very good for Carlton, but it's tragic, I think, for Melbourne that they lost a young player like Johnson, who I think was showing enormous potential. Still only early 20s. He crossed to Carlton, as we know, over the summer, and that running off the half-back and being able to deliver the ball well left foot, that's his great strength.
There's Chris Johnson, played 31 games at Melbourne, including 10 last season. 33 possessions in the Demons' victory over Brisbane in round 14. And there's Yaron, who's out with what appears to be an ankle. In fact, it would be an ankle, I'm sure. He's been replaced by Armfield. So Armfield, the sub, is out there now having a run. Simpson to Gibbs. Short one, well directed. Carlton looking very sharp. Greg back to the corridor. Gibbs kicks to space on the lead for Vola.
Beautiful.
Don't draw it up any better than that. Well, it wasn't paid a mark. Talked about his great hands. He dropped it. Fev goes long down towards full forward. Going back with the flight of it is Pratt, and that's not deliberate.
Just Gibbs has an innate ability to stay in the contest, to be in the right space, and he's very skillful. Great player, young player, and looks to be exactly what you think he's going to be, Bruce.
He's had 14 disposals already, and most of them have been good.
Same with Murphy. Favola would be, I think, a little aggrieved here that he didn't at least get the interference. Oh no, just fumbled it, I guess. The umpire didn't give him the benefit of the doubt.
A little aggrieved.
So Gibbs, Murphy held up. Harris, good tackle. Murphy gone.
Mark Murphy.
But it's a big investment when you go to the bottom of the ladder, as Carlton did, and you get those early draft picks. Mark Murphy, of course, is pick 1. Gibbs is pick 1. Cruz is pick 1. But they all look like they're good investments. I mean, sometimes you can have those early draft choices and they just don't work out to be the status that you expect. But a Murphy is certainly one of those.
Well, he's the most senior of that trio. And from straight in front, Carlton slip away another 6.
They just look a bit cleaner, don't they, Carlton, at the moment? Just 2 more players around the middle of the game, the ground. And we talk about Murphy and Gibbs, who seem to, with a bit of space, they seem to just be setting up in their forward line a little better.
Gee, you love midfielders who can kick goals too. I mean, and if you can get Judd and Murphy and Gibbs to get goals as well, what a difference that makes. We know Stevens can do that.
Mark Murphy, who grew up barracking for North Melbourne. Here's Dean Laidley, who's coaching North Melbourne. Mark's footy hero was Wayne Carey, the great Wayne Carey. Opportunity for Houlihan involved in that last goal. Harvey stood his ground, did well. Rawlings feeds it wide. Power. Wells inside the forward 50 on the lead. Down there was that in the back. Hale went to ground, no free kick. The substitute Armfield kicks it out wide. Grigg, he's been a live wire. A couple of bounces. A third one, running it up towards the 50. Pavola dropping off. Well, he was under pressure as he kicked. He got too close to the man who was coming across on the angle. He pressured the kick, and Pratt was the beneficiary.
Called backwards, so I don't think Swallows, well, if he has heard the call, he's bluffing, but I think Cloak's prepared just to stand his ground. Here's Harding at half-back. Had the bad knee a couple of years ago and then reinvented himself as a running half-back defender.
Can't set up with their ruckman, Matthew Cruiser, straight up the line, and it's forcing North to find another avenue.
So Harding with that acceleration. It's a good soft kick. Lee talked a bit about that last week. I thought that might have been a mark, actually.
Just some of that work off the ball where you talk about that. Mitch Robinson's work in the forward line, really active on the mark, good chasing. He's working really hard. You'd love to see that in your the defensive part of their game.
So Lower's kick is wide and not real good, and Thornton able to get hold of it, and then Houlihan with a little one, just to some space. No other options there. Wiggins running hard and a boundary throw, and he was good last year, Wiggins.
Yep.
He almost plays a small centre-half forward, basically. And I guess the way the centre-half forward position is now, it's more a moving position anyway, more than a pack marking position. So the sort of the 6'1" type players, 185 centimetres, I guess, in the modern term, can often be very good value there.
Well, teams are a bit like teeth, aren't they? I mean, you've got the incisors and the grinders, and Wiggins definitely a grinder, but he gets the job done. A real competitor. In front, Jacobs. Goldstein was there as well. Power falling to the ground. Murphy's got busy all of a sudden. Great courage from Lower, who got low. There's Chris Judd over the football. They're over him. You dragged it in, said the umpire. This is not going to be a good result.
Right there, that's it, that's it. Play on.
Power once more, running. Oh, gee, very confident, holding the football. Carlton get it back.
Ran too far back now.
He was oblivious to those around him. Houlihan gets the free kick.
This is if he's disorientated for a moment, wasn't it? So Houlihan, lovely kick to Favola.
As he said before the game, didn't he, Feb? He likes when Houlihan's got the ball. He's a very precise kick, not well weighted. There was a lot of Kangaroos players in that back 50 there. He just kind of overplayed it a little bit, Power, then, and got pinged. But then when Houlihan had that free kick, it was a question of finding that a little bit of vacant space. Favola got there, but the kick was perfect.
He did say before the game that Houlihan was better than all four of the ones that I mentioned, and I think the encouraging thing about that was his chase. Ratton would have loved to have seen him put that chase on and lay the tackle.
Had a lot of hip problems last year, Houlihan. Gee, that's a great kick by Fev. Home and hosed. He's got three. One of them was a 9-pointer.
I don't think we've seen Favola play, away from the goal square all that much, but he's actually had a very good start of the game here, essentially playing up around half forward. He certainly is playing forward 50 still, but not necessarily out of the full forward position. I think that's important for Carlton, that Favola has just kicked too big a percentage of their goals. They go to him too often, and they've got to get used to going up to other players in the forward 50 if they're in a better position.
Carlton on top by 30 midway through this second term. Game 5 of the NAB Cup at the Dome. Goldstein and Jacobs, two giants, go at it. They fought a draw, fell at their feet. And they'll do it again. Down Jacobs with the left hand. Judd's over the football, trying to advance it. Another ball up.
Dennis, just thinking, Favola on Gibson. Now, Fev had a big match against Gibson late last year. Bucks, I mean, do you get itchy fingers if you're Dean Laidley?
Yeah, well, not many do, because Gibson's actually played pretty good roles on key forwards. But one thing I've noticed, if we had a vision, every player, Carlton and North Melbourne player, in the centre corridor, they know that the most direct route to goal is straight at it, and defensively they want to close that up, force their attackers out wide.
Interesting shot, wasn't it? Yeah, Fev got 6 on him, didn't he, in round 20 last year? So that corridor.
Yeah, well, I think both teams got a similar similar focus defensively. And you can see that in the way the game's been played, but Carlton are just executing it better at the moment.
No, don't. Just keep it down low. You're joking. Keep it down. Don't throw it. Come on, man. No, you had his arm. What more can I do? Well, you don't have his arm. That would help. I didn't have his arm. I thought you did.
It would help immeasurably if he didn't have his arm. He wouldn't have paid the free kick. That was really just the height of Hale is enough. And they just, Waite just got a little bit panicky. Yeah, just certainly grabbed his arm. I mean, defenders often think they haven't, but he certainly did.
I think you started talking at the right time, Lee. You dropped a bomb. You started talking. Gave away the 50.
So Hale, a good thing becomes a certainty.
He's an interesting player, Wade. They've got him playing centre-half back tonight, Carlton. I thought he's played his best football more at running half forward. When he plays defence, I'm just not sure how good a defender he is when he's playing one-on-one against a marking forward. They might want to give him some run out, but that getting experience down there tonight. But that is an interesting, I guess, experiment just to see how he goes down there, Wade.
24 plays 20.
They're throwing the opponent on Hale around quite a bit. Thornton had him early, and then Jamison, and now Waite. They're really probably working out who is best suited for him for home and away.
Jacobs won it down, charging through Zeeble. He was taken down strongly by Gibbs. Trying to force a way through was Murphy. On his knees, Swallow. Well done for Rito. Heard a voice and went to it. Power swings it wider. This is Wells. Split the difference. It was a difficult split, as they say in 10-pin bowling. He did it well. He goes towards the outer side. McIntosh trapped it effectively enough. Petrie feeds it back. Urquhart goes towards the outer side. Clears the pack and runs on towards the boundary and goes out. In fact, it was Urquhart.
Michael Jamison's actually shown enormous promise, I think, as a young, developing fullback. And I think the big, strong, tall defenders, or the defenders who can play on the big, strong opposition forwards, is been a little bit of a Achilles heel for Carlton, I think, in recent years. And
McIntosh did well, got it down to Swallow. There's a chance for Wells. Ricochets off Higgins. Down goes Jones. In goes Zeeble again, and that ball's not coming out.
On the ball. Just lying on it, Simon Wiggins.
See, even on that occasion, Zeeble was over the ball. The next 4 or 5 players in the contest were Carlton. They're working harder to get numbers around the ball.
So Thornton's going to get it back here. Waite, gee, well done by Waite. He was under the pump.
Holding advantage.
You heard the umpy holding advantage. The free got earned by Waite. So Russell's kick to the pocket.
Good block by Cloak off the ball there.
And then Wiggins to load up. Favola, big chance against Gibson here. Went with the one hand. Urquhart, they got numbers back. The Kangaroos, but chance here for Cloak. Clever kick. Well done, big fella.
Rewarded. He laid a nice little block there for Wiggins further up the field. He realised that there was a 2-on-1. Took his opponent to the centre corridor and then laid a little block to allow him to have some space and stayed in the contest, moved forward and was able to get on the end of this. And it's those little bits of team play, they do come back. It's a bit like karma. They'll come back for you, and it was a nice finish from a big fella.
So the margin is 30 points. Carlton on top. Just under 8 minutes till half time. Here's the Thomas injury again. Applying the tackle there, and as you can see, the man he tackled, Waite, coming down on top of him. Judd has gone forward again, so watch this space. Power, Swallow. Advantage is paid. Zeeble got it across to Urquhart. Urquhart comes back across the ground then. In front, Rawlings lays it off. Wells. Little hand pass to Campbell. Now Rawlings is through, runs inside the 50, forced to go with the left boot. Hale works in front, was being held, will get the free kick, this time against Jamison.
Arms around, holding him back.
He's a big unit when he gets the front posse.
Your arms around him, holding him back. Clear out, guys, 5 metres.
He's very hard to get around. He's
Come back behind, Kate.
200 centimetres, as you say, Lee, but I don't know how long those arms are either. He makes it very difficult to spoil because
He's got good body strength,
so
though. He's able to have good downward strength, sort of good through the hips and the legs, so he can keep his strength. A lot of tall blokes get knocked off the ball too easily.
Hale going at his third. He kicked 8 against Geelong late last season. Puts this one through.
Generally, Carlton are the one that we're saying they're the one target up forward, and we've discussed how dominant Favola can be. But tonight for the Kangaroos, Hales looked like he's the only guy. I mean, he's kicked 3 of their 4. They've gone to him more often than anyone else. He's gone off the field now, so it's going to be a challenge to see whether Corey Jones, Goldstein's going forward now. Thomas, can they get involved in this offensive play? Petrie's also gone to centre half forward.
So Hale sitting it out. So a CFA volunteer with little daughter here tonight. What a great job they have done. Enjoying the footy at the Dome, and hanging in North Melbourne, but they're still 4 goals behind, and Carlton look the goods. Stevens getting it from Robinson. You heard it, the play on call. Houlihan clever to Betts.
Oh, well done. I don't mind that decision by the umpire. It was good play by Eddie Betts. He tried to turn his body so that he could take the contact in the back, but Pratt didn't push him in the back. He tackled him well.
Good tackle,
he had a prior opportunity, and the umpire assessed it well.
Well, Betts is going to do a Harvey here.
And the reverse.
I called it. There it is. No, thank you. What didn't even hear? No, well, that's not mine.
Very pragmatic is umpire Kennedy.
He is.
Joshua out.
So we saw Brent Harvey earlier tonight turn one round. Now Eddie Betts with a good chance.
Stay out,
Pinged,
Josh.
what, 20 seconds ago. So certainly within his range, not much of an angle. Has he got it home? No. He's hooked it. So he's missed a couple tonight, both with little hooks.
He didn't have his normal kicking action. I mean, that was a set shot. He sort of tried to get in too slow, didn't get enough momentum. Sometimes you just got to try and ignore the goalpost and just try and kick the ball over the goal umpire's head. It was just a bit too stilted because he was putting his goal kicking technique into practice.
Burkett in the back pocket then just chips it outside the defensive 50. Harris to Power. Searching hand pass forward. That hurts. Harvey goes across the ground. McMahon. That's Anthony's hand pass. Well, made it difficult for Zeeble. Arriving quickly was Grigg. They worked it nicely. The hand pass came to Thornton. Out to the outer side from Simpson. Taken high out there is Robinson. He's been in the wars, Robinson, tonight.
He's got some blood coming out, and claret coming out of the nose as well. I think he caught one earlier, and this is just adding insult to injury. But geez, he doesn't take his eye off it.
He's a willing
he runs
worker.
hard. Yep.
He's a willing worker. I've never seen him out on a field before, but I think you should be quite excited what we've seen tonight with him from the Collingwood point of view. I mean, sometimes you find they do well in February and March, and then when the real thing comes, they drop back. But just as a young player, he's shown enormous promise tonight. Worked really hard off the footy, and that's one of the things that I'm sure these Carlton coaches are really on his back about.
Talked about the 4 goals he got in that intra-club game. He had a heap of kicks, certainly more kicks than Satantaro Halpin. That game 10 days ago, but of course it was Satanta's one kick that forced this young man out of the headlines. So he nurses his nose. And this ball comes to Anderson. Anderson across half back. It went backwards.
Sloppy old kick. Anthony with a second chance here now. Harvey starting to get busy. Neat kick along the line. Zeagle's been good. And finds Jones. So Zeeble getting plenty of it. Now Jones too far out. He's going to go the shorter options. Petrie's the target. Thornton got up high at the back. Well done again to Zeeble. And a high tackle there. Griggs free kick.
I do like height deep in their forward line, the Kangaroos. Young Goldstein's come onto the field and is providing the focal point.
And Petrie
when
forward.
Hale went off.
But that was Corey Jones' first kick. He's more often than not played that link player between their midfield and their tall forward line, and just not getting it tonight.
So Grigg it is. Cruiser, clever play. Houlihan's been terrific. Bentley on the up to Gibbs.
In the back advantage.
Heard the umpire, and now the Blues take that advantage.
Kennedy lays it off. Now Bauer goes down towards half forward, hangs a long time in the air, in from the side. Gibson got it on the deck. Hansen leads back. Well done, Gibson. Got across, assisted. Ferrito took his time. Chips very close to the boundary line. Harris has it. Follows the boundary line with the kick. Oh, terrific Mark Zeeble. That was an example of strong body and then strong hands. He kicks down towards the attacking 50. Petrie juggled attempt. Wait there, step for step, and it's going to be a free kick, is it? Umpire Kennedy goes across.
Off your boot, your ball. He said it's off your boot.
Oh. Well, umpire Kennedy checking with the boundary umpire. So good officiating. Just talking about umpire Kennedy, loved by a lot of the players. In fact, he taught half the players in the competition, I reckon.
Freaky, that one.
Come off
back of his heel.
Come off Waite's heel as well, too. I think he's plucked one.
So the Blues get it to Betts. So let's go down to Tim Watson with Chris Judd.
Well, Jody, you played most of that second quarter. You must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, good to have a run. Always pieced it out for years, a few cobwebs, but boys looking all right.
And you pushed deep into the forward line there too. Is that your call?
Yeah, just mix it up. You know, the way the midfield works these days, you need plenty of rotations through this. So probably push forward a bit at different stages this year.
Cheers, thanks for your time.
So from one champion to a champion goal kicker and Favola, the free kick.
50-50 that one.
Yeah, they both had a bit of one another, didn't they? So Fev with 3 goals, including a 9-pointer. 99 goals last year. And he's kicked 91 pre-season goals in his career to date. Make that 92. So 4 for Fev. The Blues continue to have the answers.
This is decision time for the Kangaroos. You leave Gibson on Favola. Ferrito, obviously, he's a very fine defender who's also out there tonight. It's his 11th possession, Favola, so he's getting a lot of the footy in less than a half.
I always wonder with contests like that, what would the decision be if it was on the wing?
Yeah.
I mean, that would have nearly been play on.
Yeah.
Favola comes off the ground, 3 goals, including a 9-pointer. In fact, 4, including the 9-pointer to his name so far. 57-21. So a lot of talent sitting down watching the last few minutes of this second term. We've got a recall of the bounce, which is very much at the umpire's discretion. The umpires tonight: Finlay, Bowen, Jeffrey and Kennedy. Jacobs, been impressed by him, flicks it down. Harvey gives it off. This is Anthony. Thought about going forward, then decides to go back. The kick comes from lower down towards left half forward. Johnson traps it nicely. Did well, just flicked it into the path with his right boot for Jacobs. Over the football, Harding. Going to ground was Swallow. Coming through Anthony, back towards Swallow. Swallow falling to the ground, over the head of Harding. Johnson again used his body deftly. Just worked his man up the line of the football. Stevens chips between the lines, missed down there by Murphy, a little too casual. Former student of umpire Kennedy, as the kick comes from Ferrito. Lower lays it off. Harvey 55 metres out. Steps Grigg, kicks towards goal. Well done by Thomas, but he lost his bearing slightly. He shepherds it behind.
Brent Harvey's been a great player for such a long time, and in the way the game is played now, his ability to get through space like that is nearly unrivaled. He's going to be a very dangerous player for the Kangaroos this year, and obviously a big part of any success they have.
So Stevens on the end of Jamison. Really interested with Brett Montgomery with Tim at quarter time about just trialling Stevens maybe as a halfback flanker, maybe a Gilby type who can really deliver from halfback.
Well, often you've got extra defenders behind the foot. He hasn't really worked out heaps that way tonight, but that precision kicking out of the back line is just so important.
Thompson to Power. Well, good effort there by Hale. He played on. I think he called it as a mark. I thought he might have, the umpire, but perhaps I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
Well done by Petrie to Power. over to Harvey, and Harvey, well, he got a bit cute in the end, but it's a goal. Lower gets it.
You know, I reckon later in the year, Brent Harvey would have actually kicked that goal himself. I think he probably just decided try and get a teammate into the game at this stage of the year.
First game as captain.
Early days. Yeah, first game as captain.
Second time he's done it, because he probably could have got the goal in the first quarter that he gave to Thomas as well.
Well, you wouldn't have begrudged him kicking that.
No,
it was probably the
he was in the right,
play.
good enough position to kick it himself, but he made a certainty of it in the end.
57 plays 33, and so far tonight the Kangaroos unable to kick consecutive goals. Maybe a chance to do it here. 57, as I say, a pretty good score to half-time for Carlton. They'll be pleased with this. Just under a minute and a half. Jacobs directed it down. Stevens falling to the ground, goes back. Joseph lays it off. The hand pass from Bauer. Jacobs handled the ball well. Stevens inside the forward 50. Going to ground was Cloak. Coming away with it, Thompson. Kicks it up towards the wing. Harris tracks it towards the line. Bounced on its point. Went back to Grigg. Taken by Johnson. Over the top. Now an opportunity for Bentley. Kicks inside the forward 50. Working behind is Betts. Well, it didn't come to him. It came to Wiggins. And Wiggins may snap a goal.
Now, is he he's the grinder, is he, Dennis, Wiggins?
He's the what?
The grinder, is he? I'm just
the grinder. He's the blue Wiggins.
But in all honesty, that's what you need in your forward line. You need your goal kickers. I mean, you'd like everyone to be a perfect player, but you need your workers, and that's Robinson's given them that bit of that tonight. And Wiggins is the player, keeps leading up hard up to midfield, so at least that time he was able to get on the end of it himself.
Last 5 seasons, he's played between 11 and 14 games each season, so he had a much better year last year. He just hasn't quite been able to absolutely stamp himself into the team.
You need players like that, though. You need them to play a role for a certain period of the season, put pressure on their teammates. He plays a very important role for Carlton.
I reckon late last year and now he's probably, for the first time in his career, in their best 22.
Yeah, I think
a lot of footy.
He's got better every year, and that's what you'd like to see. His effort is excellent.
So Jacobs, Swallow, Anthony getting a little bit of it.
Wait for it, time.
So the Kangas couldn't get those consecutive goals that Dennis was talking about. So
Play on! No, 20, play on!
you heard the umpire. Now Ferrito kicks it well inside the 50. Jones, big fly. Harvey, clever at the back. Tries to straighten up, needs the right bounce, can't get it. But a better result for the Kangas because it's out of bounds forward pocket with a few seconds to go.
Well, it was a different attack. Ferrito got the ball behind centre there and just decided that he was going to kick it 50, 60 metres long, and North were able to crumb it on that occasion. That's the old style North Melbourne.
So Hale just tried to lay it down. Thornton, well done. Johnson liked him so far. Bauer to Robinson to Simpson. So a good half of footy if you're a Blue fan. There's been a lot to like about what we've seen.
Has been a lot to like. They're young players. They got a good team on the field. So are the Kangaroos, however. I mean, we've got 2 good teams with pretty much A-grade personnel out there tonight, and they've been look very sharp, Carlton, and a little bit of better improvement from your Gibbs, your Murphys, those guys getting into their 3rd, 4th years. A lot of good things to like about their development.
So Judd early set it up. Stevens was pretty good late. Fev's got his 4, and Harding and the rest of the boys from Arden Street with a bit to do. So at half-time here, as we go down and join Tim with Nick Stevens.
Well, Sarah, that was a pretty solid first half of football from the Blues.
Yeah, I thought the boys were good. The intensity was up, and I thought we tackled really well. So hopefully we'll come out and have the same intensity and go well in the second half.
What about your role tonight? Monty spoke about it at quarter time, about maybe more of a defensive midfield role.
Yeah, it's something we're trying, just down back for a bit. And, you know, the boys, that's the beauty of our side. We're playing everywhere and there's a lot of rotation. So we've got a lot of run in the side. It's great.
It's a really deep pool you've got in the midfield now too, the talent there.
Yeah, we have. You know, we've got probably 12 or 13 blokes we can rotate through, and it's worked pretty well so far.
Thanks for your time. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, Tim.
The Blues leading here by 30 points, well in control.